Well, now that you've had an opportunity to enjoy a delicious lunch and you're comfortable, I'm going to continue with our program here today. It is truly a privilege for me to introduce Elder Loretta Parento English to give us a blessing over our event and our discussions this afternoon. Please join me in welcoming Elder Loretta.
So is everybody full? Because you can go for seconds. Don't be shy. So first of all, I really want to acknowledge the city for the invitation to come here and just share a blessing with everyone here. Because if it wasn't for the city, we wouldn't be here, if we really think about it. All the hard work they do, the mayor, the council, they bring us together, and today's a good example of all coming together and being a part of the direction that the city is going to go to. Like all the things that everyone does here for the future generations. I'm really grateful. So thank you very much for inviting me here to share a prayer with you. I just want to let you know I am Treaty 7. I am not Treaty 8 or Treaty 6. I come from the Piikani Nation in southern Alberta. Some of you may know, but for the ones that don't know, I am from Treaty 7. I've been in this territory since 1989, and every time I drive back here, between White Court and Fox Creek, I roll down my window. And it reminds me of why I keep coming back here, because it smells so good. The trees, everything. Like, I just love that smell of the growth of everything around. It smells alive. Like, it's just such a beautiful fragrance. I wish somebody could bottle it, get into business and bottle it, because it will bring a lot of people here. But it's something I've been doing since 1989, driving here. But one of the things, I hang on to who I am. I am a Piikanaki. My name is Pita Ani Potaki. My mother was the one that gave me that name. It's Eagle Flying Low Woman. And to me, that name is very precious, not only because it came from my mother, but it came from my ancestors. Because prior to Pita Ani Potaki, my name was Umkapiaki, which my mother's mother, gave that to me as a young baby. When I was a baby, she gave me that name, and I carried it until I got Pita Ani Potaki, given to me by my mother. So that means a lot. It means a lot because it identifies not only my physical form, but my spiritual being of who I am, and that's a Piikanaki. And one of the things I'm going to do today, and I'm going to share my language in prayer with all of you. For the ones that are still eating, please put down your forks. No. But if you can stand just for a brief second, that would be really good. And for the ones that can't, it's okay that you don't. And I ask you, every one of you, all of you together, pray in your own way, pray the way that you were taught, and for this gathering to be a success, and just to reach for the goals that are set out to bring you all together, especially really one of the things that I always remember as a young lady, my grandfather used to tell me things, and as I got into adulthood, I used to wonder, why did, I used to call him Dada, why did he tell me these things? He always said things. One of the things he always used to say, pray for your leaders. Pray for the leaders that guide you, because it's hard. pray for them. So all of you in here, take that role of some form of leadership. Pray for each other that it will be successful. Ayun itsabatabi. Ayun apinatosium ginax kipitakix. Ayos pomosi amu akikon. Damux pomosi nixi ninax matapix. Damux kamisa nixi kukosix sukosix nitsukoans. Ayos pomo on its batapi extunatapi apotaki amuxi. Damux kamisa. Dam spomo on its batapi nitsikako mimo. Na istokaki damux kamisa its batapi. Kiniksi ha na sepesto sa kumapi. Mesto kimina kinanato sonesta. Kui piksaki damux pomosi on its batapi. Gimato kinan. Iksukapi kotisa amuxia. Dakaskinamatsoko. Damux pomosi on its batapi. Ayo napinatosium ginax kipitakix. Iksukapi ito tepio. Gimato kinan its batapi gamutani eight. Thank you very much. You can sit.
Well, thank you, Elder Loretta. So before we really begin, I want to acknowledge my fellow council colleagues. They are a passionate, engaged group of extremely hardworking individuals. They are the hardest working group of elected officials that I've had the privilege to serve with. So please join me in recognizing today Councillors Berg, Blackmore, Bressie, O'Connor, O'Toole, Palat. Please stand up for a second and please thank you so much for being here. Also joining us today from the Conservative Party of Canada, Grande Prairie incumbent Chris Workington. I wish you and your party the best in this election. I truly appreciate you being here. I also want to thank and acknowledge Reeve Marshall for being here. I can tell you more as we go on, but the strength of our relationship is a key to the future success of this region. And of course, a warm welcome to the many businesses and industry leaders who not only took your time, but regularly make a commitment to our community. I want to also acknowledge all of you for taking time. I know that this is a busy day and for many individuals a busy time of year. I appreciate your attendance here today. Building on last year's successes, this event brings us together, stakeholders and residents who share a common goal, shaping the future of Grande Prairie. And it's an important opportunity to reflect on our successes and positive changes and partnerships that drive our city forward. The theme of today's event, Grander Conversations, reflects on what makes Grande Prairie strong, our conversations. To bring these conversations to life this year, we're going to have two panels. They're very unique. First, the Inclusive and Caring Community panel, which highlights collaboration, essential service sectors, focusing on partnerships, community well-being, while managing growth and opportunities for growth. Second, the Innovative Efficiencies and Economic Readiness panel will explore economic trends, collaboration with local producers, and the future of key sectors in northwestern Alberta. Following these discussions, we'll also have the opportunity to hear about two notable projects. Ron Deside will share the latest on the Maskwa Medical Centre, and later Larry Gibson will provide insight on the Greenview Industrial Gateway and its upcoming development. But before we turn to today's discussions, let's take a closer look at the progress and positive change and partnerships that Council has advanced over the past year, work that builds our community, strengthens our economy, and enhances our city services. In 2024, Council remained focused on our four key priorities: quality of life, engaging relationships, an inclusive and caring community, and economic readiness. These priorities not only guide the decisions that we as council make, they create the foundation for our organization and the work that they do 365 days a year. Today, I'd like to highlight some of the meaningful progress that we've achieved as a result. Let's first start with our residents. In 2024, our census confirmed that Grande Prairie is thriving and reached 70,000 people. With our county neighbors included, Grande Prairie's urban population is now over 86,000 people. And with a median age of 35.3, we remain and continue to remain one of Canada's youngest cities. As Grande Prairie grows, so does the demand for reliable infrastructure. In 2024, we responded with critical upgrades, 31 kilometers of road rehabilitation, improved storm sewers, major enhancements along 116th Avenue, and repairs to nearly 65 kilometers of sidewalks and walking trails. For 2025, infrastructure remains an important priority, and upcoming projects for 2025 include asphalt overlays on 132nd Avenue and 102nd Street, a full-depth reconstruction of 97th Avenue through the Richmond Industrial Park, and storm sewer and pathway upgrades along 84th Avenue. So there is always the joke that I hear when the seasons change, from snow removal to potholes to dandelions. But if you add construction in there, we actually do have 4 seasons. Our economy is also surging. Housing starts are up and construction has jumped 31% to 123 million and major projects, including the Wonder Valley AI Data Center, Northern Petrochemical Corporation's methanol plant, and Cerulean's GTL Aviation Fuel Facility. With these projects, we have the potential to bring significant investment to this region. To further support this growth, City Council has approved updates to our Development Incentive Grants program. Key changes included for the municipal fee rebate to support more affordable housing, and as of last night, we officially endorsed a multifamily incentive program as well. You will see more on that, but I can tell you quickly that we heard from industry that they need to be able to have support from council in order for us to get more multifamily. So we're really proud of that work, and we're optimistic of when that comes to fruition, what multifamily we'll see in our community. We also introduced a fiber optics fee rebate program to encourage broadband infrastructure and a lowered threshold for a business development grant, making it more accessible to a wider range of businesses. Grande Prairie's transit system is also thriving. Since introducing free youth transit in 2023, our ridership has grown by 100,000 rides, a 107% increase. We extended our on-demand service hours and have contributed to an overall increase of 35% in on-demand services, reflecting our success in transit investments in meeting our community needs. Our recreation opportunities are also expanding. Council recently approved a 135,000 square foot multi-sport dome in the Trader Ridge area. With construction set to start this July, this sought-after venue will feature a FIFA-sized turf field that will support local athletes and attract regional, provincial, and national competitions. Another milestone for 2024 was the expansion of air service, further strengthening our regional connectivity out of the Grande Prairie Airport. Last November, WestJet announced an additional service, more direct daily flights to Edmonton, and they're scheduled to start in this May. We went from 4 flights a week directly to Edmonton to 11, and I was looking at some flights in May, and I see those have been added now. So with ongoing collaboration with WestJet, Air Canada, and our economic stakeholders, this airport continues to grow. We're very proud of the fact that we're the only mid-sized city in Alberta that still has Air Canada and WestJet, and will continue to advocate for further service. This progress, however, is underscored by a 7% overall traffic increase this year, with almost 280,000 passengers traveling out of the Grande Prairie Airport. As we strengthen connections through expanded air service, we're also bringing people here through our events for sporting occasions such as the Alberta Winter Games, and also being Alberta's first community to host a national Aboriginal Hockey Championships, which is now an award-winning event, and we're very proud of. Also this summer, you will see the Summer Special Olympics in Grande Prairie, and then add those to the annual celebrations such as the Grand North Winterfest, Experience GP, and Canada Day. Our events continue to boost civic pride and deliver significant economic benefits to our city and our businesses. With progress comes positive change. Council is truly committed to initiatives, decisions, and advocacy that improve safety and keep our community affordable. Public safety remained a top priority in 2024, with Grande Prairie's transition to a municipal police service. Under the leadership of Chief Lacusta, who was sworn in last spring, the first recruit class and the third experienced officer program recently was taking place in Grande Prairie, and now the Grande Prairie Police Service has 32 sworn members. While hiring still continues, keeping the police service on track to be the city's primary policing provider in 2026 ahead of schedule. Emergency response is also being strengthened. A major step forward for the new Integrated Emergency Dispatch Center is set to open in 2026. It's located downtown, and this centralized hub will improve coordination for 911, mobile outreach, our peace officers, fire and police, and ensuring faster response times. On affordability, Council and administration have kept the 2025 tax increase low while maintaining quality services. Despite inflation exceeding over 20% over the past 7 years, the annual City of Grande Prairie tax increases have averaged under 1%. In fact, Grande Prairie has the lowest property tax increase out of Alberta's 20 largest municipalities over the past 10 years. And this reflects strong financial stewardship through streamlined operations and strategic investments. However, while Council continues to do its part to keep municipal taxes affordable, rising education property taxes remain a challenge. Like other Alberta communities, Grande Prairie is facing an increase in the provincial education requisition. Though ours is at 9% and one of the lowest among all the cities in Alberta, Alberta municipalities and council continue to plead with the province for more sustainable, long-term solutions for funding education rather than shifting additional costs onto property owners. One item that council also continues to spend significant time advocating on is for fair and equitable electricity distribution. The rates to address these disparities that leave our region paying significantly more than any other parts of Alberta. Households who are in the ACO service area face the highest distributions in the province, averaging nearly $1,300 annually in 2025, while comparable cities of Edmonton and Calgary pay approximately $385. And that divide continues to get worse. Right now, we're facing a disparity of almost 3.5 times more of what the large centers pay. So while the provincial government is reviewing the issue, real action is needed to create a fair, more equitable, affordable system, and I can promise that my council will not stop advocating for that. At the same time, we value the positive steps that our province is taking to support our city and our region. The 2025 provincial budget included $1 million for Northwestern Polytech's skilled trades expansion, $4 million to complete Highway 40 twinning, and the expansion of the Family Justice Program. Regionally, $69 million over 3 years will widen Highway 40 between Grande Cache and Hinton, and these investments reinforce Grande Prairie's role as a regional hub and the economic engine of this province. Grande Prairie's role as a regional hub and council, we remain committed to partnering with the province for continued growth. Speaking of partnerships, this remains central to Grande Prairie's success in 2024. Progress like ours doesn't happen in isolation. It's built through regional and local collaboration and engagement. Nowhere was more evident than this with the creation of the Invest Northwest, the Alberta Initiative. The Invest Northwest Alberta Initiative is a joint relationship between the City of Grande Prairie, the County of Grande Prairie, and the MD of Greenview, and it is designed to provide direct support to investors, ensuring that they will have everything they need to make confident investment decisions. By combining efforts, our 3 municipalities are offering a comprehensive and compelling showcase of the region's diverse assets and advantages, positioning Northwestern Alberta as an ideal destination for both businesses and residents. Building on the spirit of this partnership, the City of Grande Prairie and the County of Grande Prairie recently signed the Recreation and Culture Cost-Sharing Agreement. In alignment with the Intermunicipal Collaboration Framework legislation, this agreement reflects a shared commitment to providing residents of the region with access to vital services and amenities. recognizing that people from both municipalities regularly use recreational and cultural facilities across the region. The city and the county worked tirelessly together to establish fair and equitable funding to support these important programs and services. And again, I thank Reeve Marshall and his colleagues for the hard work that was put into that agreement. Partnerships have also been key in advancing healthcare in our community. Council moved forward with our health care strategy and action plan, focusing on health workforce attraction and improving local services. That strategy delivered real results, with HS confirming that the successful recruitment of more than 26 new specialists and physicians last year. And we also launched the Family Physician Attraction Incentive and Healthcare Ambassador Program, further strengthening our healthcare attraction and community integration and positioning Grande Prairie as a leader in northern medical services. Pushing this leadership further, the Northern Alberta Medical Program, hosted by Northwestern Polytech and funded by the province, will welcome its first cohort of medical students in fall of 2025. We are going to train doctors right in Grande Prairie. The program offers students a chance to complete their education in northern communities while earning their medical degree from the University of Alberta, helping address physician shortages and improve healthcare access in the region. Alongside healthcare, we were making major strides in supporting newcomers. One significant advancement and key advocacy item was the success of addition of a local biometric scanning unit, a vital step in an application for work permits, study visas, and permanent residency. Previously, these individuals would have to drive all the way to Edmonton to get this. They may have just received a new job, just got situated in the community, and asking them to drive to Edmonton was not only expensive, but it took time. The implementing of this biometric scanning is now up and running, and it will establish their lives here permanently. Just as we're supporting newcomers for our future, we are equally engaging with residents to help build Grande Prairie. In 2024, we launched the Aging Well Together project, conducted the Community Knowledge Campus Annual Survey, and gathered valuable feedback through the 2025 budget engagement. We carried out smaller initiatives like neighborhood associate workshops and the Bear River Corridor study. As a result of these engagements speak volumes, our 2024 resident satisfaction survey reinforced our community spirit. 91% of our residents rate their quality of life as good or very good, something that all of you in this room know to be true. 89% of Grande Prairie believes that our future is bright, and 86% of our community take pride in our city, and public satisfaction with city services remains high at 78%, reflecting an ongoing dedication to serving the people of Grande Prairie. Maintaining that level of trust means keeping our community informed, and that's why today I'm pleased to announce the release of the city's 2024 annual report. You'll find it on your tables, and inside it highlights many of the things I've spoken about today, along with additional details about the work Council has completed and the investments we've made. I encourage everyone to explore the report. Ask questions of your councillors. Our senior leadership team is here, our city manager, and I saw Chief Lemieux here and Chief Glavin. I think Chief Whiteway is here as well. Our senior leadership team and councillor are always accessible to take questions to keep you engaged. Over the past year, Council's work has been guided by deliberate choices and strategic priorities for Grande Prairie's future. The outcomes are clear in new opportunities, improved infrastructure, and enhanced services that make our city even better for living, working, and playing, and raising a family. As we look ahead, it's clear that our conversations, those meaningful dialogues that we have between residents, businesses, and community partners are the driving force behind progress, positive change, and strong partnerships. Please enjoy this video showcasing Grande Prairie and what we have to offer, and following that, we will start our first panel.
Welcome to Grande Prairie, leading the north for a grander Alberta. Surrounded by endless natural beauty and supported by major amenities, we're forging paths, planting seeds, and establishing roots. Grande Grande Prairie is the place to be if you're seeking opportunity for growth, supported by a community of resourceful, eager people. Our region is known for trailblazing and innovation. Our people are welcoming, supportive, and eager to help you share in that success. Join us to be a part of this energy as we confidently drive tomorrow. We're grander together.
Welcome. Thank you. Good, you? All right, well, give me 1 second to get set up here. I'm going to take an opportunity for our panelists to introduce themselves. But before I do that, I just want to welcome the members of the Inclusive and Caring Community Panel to the stage. Today joining us, we have Kendra Sledding, who is a Community Development Specialist with the Mustard Seed. Kendra has lived and served in the Grande Prairie area for 20 plus years. She was the founding executive director for the Pregnancy Care Center, and has which opened in 2017, and has an extensive nonprofit and charity experience, as well as knowledge in business and sales and marketing. Her new role as a community development specialist with the Mustard Seed allows her to draw on her strengths of connection and community. Education and advocacy regarding homelessness elimination, poverty alleviation, and social justice issues are key to Kendra's role with the Mustard Seed. Please join me in welcoming Kendra. Candace Eady is the Senior Operating Officer with the Grande Prairie Regional Hospital. Candace has a Bachelor from Nursing at the University of Alberta. She is grateful to have had the opportunity to complete her entire degree in the hometown of Grande Prairie through the collaborative program with the former GPRC. She worked as a frontline labor and delivery specialist at the QE2 hospital for 6 years while moving into management in a role of women's health at QE2 in 2013. Her career has progressed through a series of leadership roles to her current role as Senior Operating Officer, which she began in 2022. Please join me in welcoming Candace. And last but not least, and not named Candace, Dr. Vanessa Shane, President and CEO of Northwestern Polytech. For many years, more than a dozen years, she has served the learning community in the Peace region as a dedicated instructor, department chairperson, school dean, provost, and vice president academic, and most recently as the president. Vanessa is born and raised in Fairview and a proud GPRC NWP Wolves alumni who recently launched her career in healthcare as a registered who initially, not recently, I was like, something's wrong, who initially launched her career in healthcare as a registered nurse. Not only is she a skilled strategist, she is also a committed community builder focused on empowering individuals with knowledge and skills and optimizing industry connections. Please join me in welcoming Vanessa. So to kick things off, I'm going to give each of you a little bit time to speak about your organizations, and I'll start with you, Kendra.
Well, thank you so much for the opportunity to be here today. The Mustard Seed is a Christian nonprofit organization that has been caring for individuals experiencing homelessness and poverty since 1984. Its beginnings were very humble in the basement of a downtown Calgary church, where they were just really realizing that there were so many people in that vicinity, so many young people lacking supports, and they had really nowhere to go. So out of that space, they just had a coffee shop, and more people came, and a Bible study ensued, and 40 years later, we're now operating in 7 cities in Western Canada. And we're really a supportive haven where people can get their physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual needs met in a caring environment. Every location offers something different programs and services to serve our most vulnerable neighbors. And we really look for strategic partnerships in our community to support the work and to help the best we can to, again, eliminate homelessness and reduce poverty where we serve. We're super grateful for the warm welcome that we've received here in Grande Prairie and look forward to finding innovative new solutions and how to care for our most vulnerable.
Thanks, Kendra. And just quickly, for those who may not be familiar with the mustard seed, tell us how many communities you operate in.
So we're in 7 cities currently. So of course our beginnings in Calgary and then amalgamating with a group in Edmonton. So that came together in the beginning, so 1989. And then moving to Red Deer, Medicine Hat, Kamloops, BC, Grande Prairie, and just recently Saskatoon, Saskatchewan.
Thank you for that. Candace.
So I'm Candace Eady, Senior Operating Officer for the Grande Prairie Regional Hospital. I'm pretty sure you guys are familiar with that building. So I represent AHS. As you guys are likely aware, there's lots of changes going on in the health system right now. And so AHS formerly was the entity responsible for kind of all of the health system services for planning and those kind of things. And so working with and under the direction of the Government of Alberta, we're shifting towards restructuring the healthcare system away from that single entity into the 4 specialized agencies with the goal of delivering more efficient, coordinated, patient-centered care. And so those agencies are focused on acute care, continuing care, primary care, and mental health and addictions. And so AHS will continue to be the service delivery for acute care. So our regional hospital, for the most part, we're going to be under the Acute Care Alberta organization, which formally is kind of standing up operationally as of April 1st. But AHS is going to exist as the service delivery organization underneath Acute Care Alberta. And then we do also have mental health, our acute mental health wing in Unit 11 at the hospital, which is underneath the Recovery Alberta. But we are all continuing to work within the same facility. And so for our patients coming to seek care at our site and in the province, we know that despite all the changes in the system, our focus remains on providing the best quality care that we possibly can for our patients, and remembering that all of our patients need to move smoothly between all of those different agencies, and really focusing on how we can continue to provide really seamless care and to focus on a really high quality care for our patients.
Thanks for that. Vanessa.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor Clayton. So Northwestern Polytechnic is a publicly funded, board-governed post-secondary institution. We have campuses in Grande Prairie and in Fairview. We also have a wing in the Grande Prairie Regional Hospital for all of our health programs, and we have a research facility out in Beaver Lodge, our National Bee Diagnostic Center. We employ over 500 staff. We serve over 4,000 students every year on both the credit and non-credit side. In areas all the way from apprenticeship up to NWP degrees or collaborative degrees through other post-secondary institutions. And just to give you an idea of the work that we do, we have an annual operating budget of about $80 million in our community. So.
Thanks for that, Vanessa. And no surprise to you three, I think I'm going to go a little off script, but I'm just going to start with you, Vanessa. You mentioned the additional programs that you've added, and if the community is not aware, Northwest Polytech, under Vanessa's leadership, has made incredible strides in introducing new programming. A traditional post-secondary may introduce on an annual basis about half a dozen new programs. Northwest Polytech last year introduced 30 new programs. So it's work like that, it's commitment to this region that really sets us on a great path. And my question, Vanessa, is maybe you can talk about the collaborations and partnerships and how you got to that 30 number, because I know it involves a lot of relationships and partnerships in the region.
Yeah, thanks, for sure. And I think we're actually pushing close to 40 now, but we're counting. So. And how we got there was really just that, the relationships and partnerships, and looking at what programs we were offering and what programs we were not offering, and what's in need, both from a student demand but also industry, employer, community organization demand. And there was some really, low-hanging fruit, I guess you could say, in terms of things such as practical nursing. We've been offering the degree nursing for almost 3 decades, but the diploma practical nurse, we hadn't. So there was some low-hanging fruit where there was a clear labor market need. We had the expertise in-house to develop those programs, so let's develop them. And then there was some other more exciting ones that were really, I'd say, grassroots driven. So our agriculture operations diploma, for example, that was a group of producers in a room with us saying, we need help, we need workers. This ag business stuff that happens at other post-secondaries is not actually meeting our needs, so we need something unique to us, and then we worked with them and developed that program. And as you alluded to, and as I said, it's right from apprenticeship, so expanding our seats in our apprenticeship program. Electrician and heavy equipment, we physically can't take more students, but we're working at it. Or adding new ones such as gas fitter A that we hadn't offered before, up to degrees. So Bachelor of Computing Science degree, again, this came out of the voice of the region. Education, elementary education, secondary should be on its way, but again, those were developed with our school districts for what they need and what they're looking for to retain the learners that are here and also recruit new learners and new people to come work in our communities.
Thanks for that. I was going to go to Kendra next. Can you tell us where you're seeing some new partnerships emerging? Mustard Seed is relatively new to the community. There are some incredible existing organization, Rising Above and Northreach and different. And how are you seeing partnerships with existing organizations or new opportunities in our region and in our city?
Yeah, absolutely. So here in Grande Prairie, the Mustard Seed is the service provider for the program at Cedar Point, supportive living facility with wraparound supports. Formerly it was called the Coordinated Care Campus. And so part of my role really is to meet with the community, engage with supporters, find out where those partnerships are. I know a lot of the folks in Grande Prairie and regularly go to meetings or events and discuss what's going on with the different groups, how they're working with us. So we currently have 50 residents. We're approaching capacity. We're about 95% fully staffed. And working with people will always bring challenges. We just can't move people immediately to where they want to be, but talking with the different groups, what are the needs that they're seeing? We are partnering currently. Northreach is with us. Things will be changing there, so we're reaching out to different groups in our community and other communities to provide services to see where the emerging needs are, where the best use of the programs and services are, and we're starting to see some real positive momentum there.
Yeah, thanks, Kendra. I think it's really important to recognize that Cedar Point is an intricate piece of the puzzle of the solution for homelessness and mental health support. So thank you for the work that you do. Candice, I think it would be non-traditional for people to assume that the regional hospital is really a partner in the community. But what do you think, in your opinion, what are you doing to support the community and how are you strengthening those relationships?
Yeah, it's a good question, and I think we have lots of really phenomenal partners in the community in Grande Prairie. NWP is obviously one of the ones right off the top because we have the advantage of having that health education center embedded right in that facility. And so we have a phenomenal opportunity to partner with our students and with the educators right as they are learning. They become part of the community of the hospital right from the beginning of their health education kind of journey. And so really working on enhancing those relationships and giving those students as many opportunities as we can right from the beginning of their education journey. We're also working with different community partners around providing like health education camps for even youth while they're still in kind of high school and giving people those opportunities. I think trying to expose those students to different areas of the healthcare system that they wouldn't usually think about. So usually when we talk to kids about, would you think about being in healthcare, they think about doctors and nurses, but they don't think about being a biomedical engineer or working in medical device reprocessing or some of those other kind of unique opportunities. And so we've had some really great coordination with some different groups with the University of Alberta with the Asclepius Medical Camp in the past year, and that's coming back again this year, and some other medical camps that we've been putting on, some interest from Indigenous communities as well for some specific camps related to Indigenous students, so those are always phenomenal. We have some really great partners in our city and in our county and the Greenview with the donations and the participation that we've had. Our community in Grande Prairie is phenomenally generous. And so even through our foundation, there's so many different opportunities, and there's so many groups reaching out to say, how can we help? How can we appreciate our healthcare workers? And I don't know if people understand how important and how valuable that is. So we have, through our foundation, a fund that they've created for us each year that we have for staff engagement, that we use those donations. And so the city has partnered with us to do staff appreciation barbecues and coffees and teas and those kind of things. And our county, had the generous donation for the TVs that I'm sure every single patient and family who's ever been to the site really appreciates. That was amazing. And so all of those different donors, and the foundation is a phenomenal partner for us as well. Those kind of things that we can really show to our staff about how much they are appreciated, and to be able to tell them that, this has come through, our community partners, that they are the ones who are really saying they appreciate you, I don't even have the words to explain how important that is. So just really appreciate those kind of partnerships, and trying to, make those good opportunities to be able to help people to see kind of where they are in the facility. And then another one we've recently just starting up is our visual arts committee. And so we have a few people from the community that we're kind of bringing in to help give us some advice and guide how we want to create a more inclusive and welcoming environment for our patients and visitors as they're coming to the site, so they can see themselves in the visual arts. So,
perfect. So you mentioned your clients that you serve, and we know our demographics of our city and our region are changing. When I first was elected, the average age in the community was about 31 years old. Now it's about 35, and I often say it's attributed to adding pickleball courts, but that the seniors have no reason to leave. But part of the reality of that is that we have such a young population as well, so grandparents are sticking around to spend more time with their children. But in your organization, Candace, what changes does that mean as the demographic changes and systems need to accommodate that? What kind of changes do you see implementing into your facility?
Absolutely. There's lots of growth in the community as well, right? As the population expands, as you guys can imagine, and I'm sure that you've experienced, any kind of population growth is additional people who are accessing services within healthcare. And so I'm also responsible not just for Grande Prairie Regional Hospital, but also for seniors health in our community. So Mackenzie Place, and for our home care teams. And so as we see that aging population, we know that there is significant demand for additional continuing care spaces, specifically in our community. And so looking at different options and opportunities for us to be able to make sure we're providing the best care for patients in the best place possible, recognizing that because we don't have those specific beds for continuing care in our specific community, looking at different options about how we can provide that care, while we also advocate for getting those kind of facilities built in the local area. And so one of the things that we are just opening in the next couple weeks, actually, is within the former QE2 building on one of our former medicine floors. We're opening up a transition care unit. And so that is a temporary space where we can move patients who no longer need acute level of care, because that's no longer an acute care facility. It doesn't have that designation. So it's actually funded under a long-term care kind of capacity. But it is 19 beds where we can move people temporarily who no longer need the acute level of care. They might be waiting for a long-term care space. They might just be needing a little bit of a longer stay, longer convalescence after an acute care stay. But those beds are going to be opening so that to be able to alleviate some of the pressure out of the acute care site, and also to be able to keep people a little bit closer to home. Because what we're having to do right now is, while people are waiting for their preferred locations that are lots of times in Grande Prairie, they have to take a secondary location kind of in the interim while they wait, and sometimes those places are quite a ways away from the community, and so from our local community in Grande Prairie. So it is kind of that balance of trying to see where the growth is, trying to provide the best possible options that we have kind of in the meantime, and also balance those needs that we have for acute care, and being able to keep those acute care beds that are at our regional facility that service the entire north zone, to make sure that we have that capacity to take care of those needs as well. And I have other things about kind of the growth and the demands and wait lists and stuff like that. Did you want me to speak to that?
Let's come back to that for a sec. Kendra, can you talk about how your organization addresses challenges? Your clients are ever evolving and changing, and that therefore would require different skill set, different aptitudes for your team. And so tell me how your organization changes with the changing needs of supports that you offer.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, it's a challenging population. We've been bringing in a new resident, about one per week. We do give lots of opportunity for growth and change. It's been a huge transition to our recovery-oriented approach. And so we're working with people. So it just takes a while that we can see some growth in different areas, but encouraging them to move forward requires a lot of resources, a lot of partnerships. So we have a partner with Grande Prairie Friendship Centre for Indigenous supports, and we partner with CMHA. Recovery College comes in to offer different programs, anger management, self-esteem, boundaries, that sort of thing. We have employment counselors come in. We have income supports will come in to our location. Again, we're not in the business, our CEO says we're not in the business of housing people. We're not in the business of running a shelter. We truly want to move people to a place of well-being, health, transformation. So whatever is needed, usually I first look for partnerships that would be free or low cost. We have some great partners. We needed a vehicle to transport folks to their appointments around town. So Norland Ram stepped up and donated a 2-year lease on a brand new Jeep Grand Cherokee. And then New Horizon Co-op donated a year of fuel. Speed Pro Signs sponsored the vehicle wrap. So we do have a generous community. There are a lot of nonprofit supports, a lot of different agencies offering helps for our folks. A lot of them have low literacy. So what does that look like for them to move into their own housing? But we have recently had some graduates graduate out of our program into market housing, and it takes all those supports around them for them to hopefully experience, sometimes for the first time in a long time, the esteem, the ability, the self-confidence to consider themselves able to move forward on their recovery goals and what the future could look like for them, a brighter future.
Thanks for that. I'm going to pivot a little bit, and Vanessa, I'm going to talk about potential growth in the region and how that impacts the post-secondary institution. How do you see changes, and how does your innovative approach pivot and be nimble with the needs of the region? And you've identified that is a priority, and it's one of the sort of pieces to your success is being collaborative and integrated into the community. But as the community changes and different sectors become more relevant and prevalent, how do you pivot and how do you adapt to that?
Yeah, thanks. I really do think that, post-secondary needs to get out of the way that you offer a program and you offer it till the end of time. And if you offered it 100 years ago, it's still relevant. And so getting in that mindset of we're constantly developing, we're constantly exploring, we're working with partners and coming up with programs and just understanding that a program lifespan may only be 10 years and then it's replaced by something else. And then 10 years and maybe replaced with something else. Or maybe it's a 3-year non-credit thing that you're due for 3 years because the need's there and then you don't do it again. But you have it in the event that you can reuse it or use parts of it afterwards. The other part just on the community growth is enrollment growth. And so I've talked about programs, expanding programs, but I think we all know that part of going to college or university is to find yourself and explore things outside of the classroom. And so there's all that student life supports and those different needs that we are seeing in learners too. And so things on academic supports, the student mental health supports, and housing. And housing is one that I know Mayor Clayton and I have talked about. And we are doing an assessment on our current student housing availability needs and what the future outlook looks there. And we do anticipate that we will be doing some investment in student housing in the near future just because of that growth we are seeing.
Thanks for that. Candice, how do you watch trends for your organization? I mean, obviously a lot of us have heard about measles, and I'm sure trends in healthcare impact your organization, but how do you integrate trends that are happening as people, seasonally things change, as people travel a lot in this region, so there's obviously a lot of communicable concerns. And tell me how your organization needs to be nimble in regards to that.
Yeah, you bet. I think it's a lot of kind of paying attention to data and analytics. So really framing the work that we're doing around looking at patient populations and wait lists and those kind of things. So similar to what Vanessa just spoke to, I think there's a lot of tendency at times to kind of do things the way we've always done them. And there needs to be more kind of flexibility and more innovation and looking for different ways that we can be looking at things. So looking at, if we have how we've allocated programs or times and stuff like that for our different programs, if we've done that in the past, really kind of taking that opportunity to take a look at what are our existing wait lists, what are our existing patient populations, does the way that we've allocated those times in the past still meet our current demands? And so those are lots of the things that we're kind of undertaking right now. Those are pretty big shifts, so it takes some time to change some of those things, and understanding, looking at things that we know that are important to people. And so we know there's lots of attention on things like wait lists and those kind of things, right? So one of the things we've done locally with our shift to focus on wait time specifically around surgeries is to look at how we had allocated our OR time in the past, and then making sure we realign that so that we are focusing on the areas where we have the patients with the biggest wait lists that are furthest kind of out of clinically appropriate time. So we did make those changes, and it's a balance. Again, we are publicly funded, so there's limited resources, so it's really analyzing how we're using the resources that we have and making sure that they align with what's the biggest demand and the biggest concern at the time. We've also done some work with our emergency department, and so we've added additional physician resources to our emergency department, and so over the past couple of years, and we've actually seen a decrease in the average amount of time that takes a patient who's coming to our emergency department to see a physician. And that's actually a trend we've seen locally where we've decreased that time, and overall in AHS, that amount of time has actually increased over the same time period. So it's something we know that it's the work that we're doing here is making a difference, and it's not just an artifact of sort of other things that are going on in the system. And then the third area that we've really been focusing on is our EMS offload time. So really trying to make sure that we're releasing those EMS crews to offload the patients into the emergency department so that those crews are available to respond to emergencies in the community. And I really have to give a huge shout out to our emergency teams. They've done a phenomenal job of really shifting that approach. We've had a huge improvement in the amount of time. So our EMS offload time is kind of from when they drive in the ambulance room or ambulance bay doors to when they're kind of released. They have to go through, have the patient triaged, offload to the emergency room, and then the EMS crews go back and get their bus ready to kind of go back out. And so that target is a 45-minute from the time they come in the ambulance bay to when they go out the ambulance bay again. The hospital time that we look at there is the time that they kind of come in through those doors to when we've had that offload. So they do the triage, and then our emergency room staff are now taking over the care of that patient. We've actually had about a 6-fold improvement in the amount of time that takes, the average amount of time that it takes. We're down to our average time is 15 minutes in the last quarter to be able to do that. And when we started the initiative, it was around 90. So that's been a huge amount of our work. And that's really been that effort of that emergency room team to say this is something that's a priority, this is work that we can do, and we're really dedicated to this. So really trying to be responsive and focus our efforts in areas where we can make those good changes.
Thanks for the Candace, and as you've heard, it's extremely important and then those of you who appreciate that change, help us dispel that rumor that the emergency is actually extremely long, because there's been significant improvements. I'm really going to wrap up here. I think Katie told me I'm already over time on this. Okay. I'm going to just quickly, Kendra, tell me, you have a room full of engaged residents and people that represent different levels of government and advocate on a regular basis. How can they help you to best meet your needs? What can this room do to help you and your organization be successful in our city?
Yeah, so we're so grateful for all of you, how engaged you are, how much you support this community. We've gotten a really great welcome. We've made some inroads with some really good strategic relationships. We need to have more conversations. There are things upcoming for us that are probably going to be on the horizon. We're having talks with other groups around food security in our community. There's transportation, there's health and wellness services, so that's going to be changing a little bit for us. But that health and wellness proponent is a huge part of what we do to help our residents. We're really excited about the 42 units of affordable housing for single adults that's opening up on the 3rd floor of Cedar Point. So that's going to, again, fill a real gap and a need, but we have needs. So generally across the board, mustard seed funding, about 60% will come from government contracts, and the rest really comes from the community. Those great relationships with people that say, I love the folks in our community and I want to see some legacy happen, some different programming put in place. Again, we want to do things that are unique for Grande Prairie because it's needed here in Grande Prairie. Primarily right now, we're at Cedar Point, but there may be other things that we've done in other cities, other regions, and we have a good team behind us that you might be here saying, this is what I'd like to see in my community, and is there a way we could partner with you for that? And I'd love to speak with you about those things. Again, we've got lots of opportunity. There's lots of areas. There's things we are still in need of, so anytime we could reach out to you, you could reach out to us. Again, we're here to really help those vulnerable in our community, but across the board, the whole community benefits when we work together.
Thanks for that, Kendra. And last question, Vanessa. You and I talk about advocacy a lot, and so tell me what some of the provincial and federal government asks are that will make you help you continue to be successful.
Yeah, with pleasure. Provincially, we need money. I'll be so bold. We are working to expand skilled trades in Grande Prairie. I mean, anyone who lives here knows that we need more skilled trades professionals. We need infrastructure dollars to add more skilled trades in Grande Prairie. And so that's a big one for sure. Federally, stability in the international student visa file for sure is something that's needed. And just want to give a shout out to Mayor Clayton and City Council that they have helped advocate for getting early learning and childcare and degree equivalency recognized federally, and those have both been added to the list. And then on the provincial side, as she said, we did receive some funding from the province to start our work in expanding skilled trades, but definitely, please, when you see Nolan and Ron, any messaging, I would appreciate it. Thanks.
Thanks so much. Well, I want to thank Vanessa, Kendra, and Candace for sharing with us today and giving us a unique perspective about what's happening within their organizations and around our community. I'll get them to, we're going to exit the stage, and then I'm going to introduce our next speaker. Thanks, Kendra. Thanks so much. Thanks, Candace. Thanks, Vanessa. Yeah, you bet. So I'd like to now welcome Rhonda Side to the stage and to provide a brief update on the Maskwa Medical Centre. Rhonda is the vice chair of the board of Maskwa, and since 1996, Rhonda has taken an active role in the Sides Group real estate holdings and development. In addition to real estate and working with the Maskwa Medical Centre, in 2009, Rhonda co-founded the Grade 3 Reading Academy Society. And if you're not familiar with that, Rhonda and her sister deserve the hugest round of applause. They're teaching grade 3s to read better. This is a community-based literacy program that welcomes no less than 200 struggling students, grade 3 readers, each summer at Northwest Polytech campus, so they get used to the campus and then they learn how comfortable it is to go to school there. So the incredible work. Please join me in welcoming Rhonda. Wow. Do you want to be here or there? Up to you.
Will you come and sit next to me?
Okay.
Come and sit next to me.
Okay.
Because I'm happy you're sitting down. I'm not here for grade 3 Reading University, but like grade 3 Reading University, the Maskwa Medical Centre is community-driven, community-based, not-for-profit. It's people doing this work off the side of their desk because they see a need in the community. And the need in this community for the last, Maskwa is about, I don't know, 8 years old, 7 or 8 years old from its inception. And we've been working literally tirelessly to push the needle on getting better health care results for the people who live in this region. And like Reading University, for a bunch of people who aren't in the industry, we aren't, Reading U, we're not educators, we're community champions. Maskwa's community champions. We aren't educated in healthcare. We aren't healthcare professionals. We're people who live here who don't want to die 3 years too soon, because people in Calgary live 3 years longer than us. And that's inadequate by anyone's standard. It's not a reflection of the people who are working in healthcare. It's not a reflection of the services that Candace works so hard to provide for us. It's a reflection of how the beast of the system has grown and just become this monster. So Maskwa was fortunate to be in the room when Northwestern Polytechnic and the University of Alberta said, we got a really great idea here and we'd like to move it forward. So at this point, and today we're going to talk about how Maskwa is helping provide the home for the residency program and a community clinic. Initially, all we wanted was one internist. We want one general internist, a really good nurse practitioner, and a good intake to clear away any of the noise of having to go back and forth to Edmonton or Calgary to get to see a specialist. Now, your GP says, well, shit, I've never seen that before. And they go, I'm going to send you for an x-ray, and I'm going to send you for an ultrasound, and some blood work. And then you come back. After getting those things done, you come back. It's about 3 weeks later, your doctor says, well, this didn't help. I'm going to send you to somebody I know. And it's 3 months before you hear back from the specialist's office, and then it's 6 weeks after that you get in to see them. And they look at the stuff and they go, well, I'm not the guy you should see. You should see somebody else. You're going to have to go back to your doctor and request a visit with another specialist. So you go back into the circle. Maskwa's plan originally is and our continued purpose is to clear that out. So when you get in to see an internist the first time, a general internal medicine guy, girl, it's not when you're on a gurney. It's when they're sorting out who the right person is to send you to. As I said, because we're this organization that have been together for these years and we're driving this community towards something, we got the attention of the University of Alberta's School of Medicine and Family Medicine and Dentistry and NWP, and they went, whoa, we've got an idea. We've got a really great plan. We need a community champion to drive the rest of this home. So now, with the help of the City of Grande Prairie, the County of Grande Prairie, the MD of Greenview, and fingers crossed, everyone, like Vanessa, we need some dough. If you bump into Nolan or Ron, tell them that we need the money to build the building. And we're getting very close to that. So, I'm a last-minute speaker. I was told about yesterday morning that I was going to do this, so and I didn't know what was
Not due to our fault.
Oh no.
Okay. Just to be clear.
No.
Okay.
Is Ken Drysdale the chair? He's a busy guy, but oh my God.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And he's relentless. I don't know if any of you have bumped into him. He's relentless.
100%.
So we're about 2 years ago, I said, okay, Ken, I can't do this anymore. I've taken on a whole bunch of work. I just need to focus on my work. And he absolutely ignored me. So here I am. Anyway, the University of Alberta's Medical Residency Training Clinic is going to be in the Maskwa Medical Centre. We've got the land secured across from the hospital. We have a building plan. We have it engineered. It's designed. It's costed. We're ready to put shovel in the ground. They're going to take over the whole main floor. They needed a home. This community is providing them a home. It's not just Maskwa. It's this community that's providing them the home. On the second floor, we'll have retail space for wraparound services. All the things that when you're being discharged from the hospital, you go, I need a what? My mom needs a who? How am I going to find those things? It's 3 more trips to other places all around the city. not anymore. We're going to find those services and put them in the building. Daycare. Daycare will also be there because the people who work at the hospital, there's hundreds of people. There are hundreds of people there who need daycare. So we're doing that too. On the third floor, that's where the internal medicine specialists will be. So we haven't been lost in the program. We're still going to be there. As I said, the facility has been engineered, designed. We have a general contractor ready to go. So
Just needs money.
just some more dough. When you see Ron, when you see Nolan, tap them.
And so just so the room knows, the ask isn't large in relation to the project. It's a $15 million ask to the province. It can be $5 million a year for 3 years. In the scheme of healthcare, it's a small amount. And so we're hearing positive signs from the province. We're optimistic that in 2025 of Q2, that we'll hear more funding information. And Q2 for the province is in the summer. So optimistic, but I know Rhonda and Ken and Wayne Drysdale and others that are on the committee are working hard for this community. Healthcare has been a priority, an advocacy priority for my council, and so we're happy to support this project. The county and the MD are also supportive, but we need people to advocate to the province because healthcare is a provincial responsibility. So I don't think I have anything else. Rhonda, do you have anything else?
Well, do you want me to talk about something else? I got a little bit of Reading University I'd like to take.
Okay, quickly.
No, I won't. I won't do it.
Thank you for joining us today, Rhonda. All right, so next up, we're moving to our innovative efficiencies and economic readiness panel. Pleased to welcome the members of this panel to join me on stage today. Brock Mulligan, the Senior Vice President of Alberta Forest Products Association. Brock has been the Vice President and been with the organization since 2010. His work primarily focuses on government and community relations, advocacy, and communications, including the AFPA's award-winning Love Alberta Forest campaign. The AFPA represents 20 companies operating more than 50 facilities in communities throughout Alberta, and the AFPA is very proud of its heritage, which stretches back to 1942. Please join us, Brock. Also joining us today, Claire Hafner, the Senior Advisor for Alberta Policy and Strategic Outreach at Canadian Association of Petroleum Producers, CAP. In this role, Claire works closely with industry leaders, municipal governments, and community partners to strengthen connections between the energy sector and the communities it serves. Drawing on her background in agriculture and policy, Claire plays a key role in advancing advocacy efforts and fostering meaningful dialogue across Alberta and Saskatchewan. Since joining CAP, she has taken an increasingly strategic role, helping to bridge the gap between industry priorities and community interests. And Claire is also an opera singer, which unfortunately we couldn't make happen today, but please join us, Claire. And last but not least, joining us today, Jessie Meyer, who is a Region 5 delegate for Alberta Greens. Jessie joins us as a regional representative, and Jessie's family emigrated from Switzerland and settled in the Peace region in the early 80s. After graduating from Olds College in 2011 with a diploma in agricultural management, Jessie went back to the family farm while he worked as a territory manager for Canterra Seeds in the Peace region for over 8 years. Jessie also brings his extensive knowledge from the Alberta barley and Sarda ag research to our panel today. Thanks for joining us, Jessie. And to kick things off, I'd like to provide a minute for each panelist to share a little bit about their organizations. And I'll start with Jessie.
Thank you, Mayor Clayton. Is that on?
There we go.
Yeah, you bet. Okay. Thank you for having me, and thank you for allowing me to represent the agriculture industry here in the region and Peace Country. So yes, like Mayor Clayton said, I'm We're an 8,000 acre grain farm north of Grande Prairie together with my brother. And I'm a representative for an organization called Alberta Grains. And Alberta Grains is a provincial organization that represents the interests of Alberta wheat and barley farmers.
Thanks so much. And Claire?
It is an honor to be here talking about oil and natural gas, which is key to the community. So the Canadian Association of Petroleum Producers, we are a nonpartisan research-based industry group with member companies, large and small, exploration, development, and producers of oil and natural gas throughout Canada. Our main office is in Calgary, but we have smaller offices in Victoria, Ottawa, and of course the offshore team in Newfoundland. I'll just say quickly, our members produce nearly 3/4 of Canada's annual oil and natural gas production.
Great, thanks. Thanks for that, Claire. And Brock?
Thanks, Mayor Clayton, and I think great introduction that really helpfully went over some of the boxcars. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about what makes forestry in Grande Prairie unique, and I think there's a couple things. Number one, it's the largest forestry employment center in Alberta, the Grande Prairie region, with 2,500 jobs. The second thing is when you think about the companies that are here, we have 4 members in the broader region, Weyerhaeuser, International Paper, Canfor, and West Fraser. These are 4 of the biggest, most innovative forestry companies in the world. They're companies whose values and business models have really stood the test of time. The baby of the bunch is West Fraser, founded in 1955. Canfor was founded in the early 1940s, and Weyerhaeuser and International Paper are both from the late 1800s. So Grande Prairie is really unique in terms of having this concentration of some of the biggest, most innovative forestry companies in the world all in one place, and I think it's really exciting to be part of that.
Thanks for that, Brock. And well, just while I have you on the mic, I'm going to focus a little bit on advocacy because I know it's something that's near to your heart and something that you work on a regular basis. Tell us how the various levels of government what they can do to support the long-term viability of forestry and how you see that integration and things that you're working on with multi-levels of government.
Thanks. So there are a few things. I mean, first of all, I don't think it's any secret to anybody in the room that our industry has been, for whatever reason, picked out by the Americans for massive levels of tariffs. Like, we're talking over 50%. There are some things that we can do to I think, kind of get us through a time of a bit of turbulence. And there's some advantages that we have. Number one, this region has the best fiber in the world, both for building and for pulp. And one thing that we can do is build a lot more with Alberta wood. We've got the Philip J. Currie Museum out in Grande Prairie, out in the county Grande Prairie. There should be buildings like that all across this province. BC has done that. They've used the fiber that they have to make beautiful spaces for folks to recreate and play and live, and there should be more of that in Alberta. The second thing, and I think that it really goes to some of the work that you're doing, Mayor Clayton, and that some of the other folks in the room are doing, is we need to make this country trade ready. We are going to have to move stuff to different markets, and that includes things like pipelines, which I'm sure that Claire will speak about, but it also includes things like better rail and port service. And I know that you're working, Mayor, with Community Rail Advocacy Alliance that talks about the importance of good rail service to quality of life in the region. And I see Reeve Marshall and there's a few partners from that Advocacy Alliance in the room. That work's critical. And then the very last thing we have to do is focus on competitiveness. Alberta is already a really competitive jurisdiction for forestry in terms of costs. So we've seen as production in BC has come off because of their high costs that Alberta has managed to thrive. We need to focus on that. I see MP Workington in the room. Some of the federal permitting delays that we see around Species at Risk Act and some of those other things are a huge drain on our competitiveness. They're things that we can't afford going forward. So it's really time. I think that the tariff situation has sharpened the focus on what we need to do. So I think those are 3 things we could do.
You bring up species at risk, and sort of it makes me think of a significant file in regards to the woodland caribou, and I'll go to Claire next. And when we talk about change, how is your industry managing an ever-changing society and demands and public perception? And how is your organization and your industry managing that?
So it has definitely been a time of change and lots of uncertainty, which I won't lie, can be unsettling for everybody involved. So we are managing the uncertainty by focusing on what we can actually control. And I'll just say, for example, the trade tariff issues. The US has been and will always be a key trading partner for Canada. We are enmeshed in our oil and gas industry, but Canada needs to get our own house in order and diversify markets and look to other places to kind of take care of some of these issues. So because of all the change, we've looked somewhat inward, and the path forward we feel is growth, and growth where we can find it regardless of these other things that are happening. So we're working with different levels of government to try and put forth a 7-point plan that we've come together. And I know you're not supposed to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 when you're speaking, but I'll just quickly go over some of the higher level things. So CAB is advocating to clear the roadblocks preventing critical infrastructure projects. So we are encouraging the next federal government, they must repeal the Impact Assessment Act. Replace it with something that's clear and predictable, one project, one assessment. We have to foster growth within Canada. This is one of the ways. We need to streamline the approvals for major projects that are already in review. So especially the LNG projects, LNG export facilities, and the West Coast Tidewater access. We need to continue to advance the emissions reductions technology while ensuring affordability and competitiveness. Everything that is making Canadian oil and gas more investor-friendly and more innovative. One of the biggest things that is personal to me as someone who does stakeholder relations and works in the community and comes to Grande Prairie and sees how incredible the industry is with this community is we need to champion Canadian oil and natural gas. It is a pillar of our economy. We need a federal government who loves that, who can put that message forward and who fights for that. And we also can't just build, we need to build with speed. We are being left behind if we don't step things up. And then I'll just finish by saying we do need to work on diversifying our market, connecting better egress, getting to the West Coast. There are markets in Asia who are wanting Canadian natural gas. We have it, we have that ability with LNG Canada coming online and that pipeline, it's great opportunity. So we're trying to foster collaboration between Minister Jean and then the Minister Dix in BC. And I will say that I was in an event a couple months ago where Minister Jean was saying how they consider BC the port of Alberta. So we're really going to take him on that and see if we can get it going.
Thanks, Claire. On collaboration, Jesse, tell me how your association supports local producers in the Grande Prairie region.
So Alberta Grains is elected by farmers from 6 regions. We have a region here in the Peace region, and we have 2 directors that sit on that board to help guide them on what issues are affecting them as farmers. You were asking what
your organization does to support local.
Yeah, so local growers. So there's quite a few different things. So on a policy level, it works with the different levels of government, federally and provincially, to make sure that the interests of the farmers are heard and that we're at the table to remind the governments how important agriculture is to Canada, especially Western Canada and here in the Peace Country in Grande Prairie. So advocating for trade, just like the other 2 said, export is a really important issue for Canadian farmers. A majority of the product that we grow gets exported to various countries, especially the United States and also China. And so these tariffs are having, of course, a big impact on us. So making sure we're working with the federal government on that to advocate for farmers. Provincially, also federally, variety development new varieties that make farmers more competitive, where we can grow higher yielding crops under more variable growing conditions. And there's a lot of government involvement in those variety development. And, it's interesting, we've had some major droughts and heat the last few years, and us as farmers are still able to grow a pretty good crop with a few inches of rain and the extreme heat we've had. And so government's involved in that, and which of course impacts farmers here locally, which creates more revenue to help in the community. So those are just a few key highlights that I would, there's more, but that would be the couple big ones.
Thanks, Jesse. Just quickly, is there any new initiatives in your industry that you're seeing in this region that people might not be aware? You said, you're adapting to ever-changing climate and growing seasons. Is there new initiatives in your region that you're seeing through agriculture?
Oh yeah, there's so much change happening within the industry. I think you look back 10 years ago to now, it would look like a completely different industry altogether. There's quite a few I could pick. I mean, one I think of is renewable fuels, biofuels within the canola industry, working with the, things like that are going to be more important moving forward, especially with the emphasis on the environment. So that would be a highlight that I would.
Thanks, Jesse. Claire, sort of last question for you quickly. Can you tell me what opportunities for growth exist in this region specifically?
Yeah, so one of the opportunities is the shifting public opinion that comes with the tariffs has kind of given us more momentum and opportunity. And so one of the things that's good for the region here is Alberta's plan to double oil and gas production. And there have been a lot of advocacy issues from CAP's behalf in the Upper Smoky region, which directly affects, has an impact here on the community. So we are working with different industry associations as well as government to help double that production through getting rid of red tape, making it more investor friendly. And I do have some numbers here that I have that are directly for Grande Prairie. One moment, sorry.
No worries.
So the local economic impact for the Grande Prairie region from the Upper Smoky, annual contributions include 1.037 billion in GDP, 487 million in labor income, over 5,500 full-time jobs, 210 million in taxes, and then the direct contributions for businesses, building businesses, jobs in drilling, service rigs, productions, and then in supporting industries like equipment supply, maintenance, logistics. So any work we can do to make that area grow will have a direct impact on the Grande Prairie region, and that's something that we've been working on.
Perfect. And last question to you, Brock. Tell me how your industry is collaborating with other industries on the stage.
Thanks. So I think we're starting to think about how we can collaboratively tell the story of Alberta, and this region all over the world. We've got a lot of things that we can leverage. We have great resources from all three of these industries. But I think more than anything, we have people, and we need to tell the story of the folks here and the people who work in our industries. One thing that I hear from my members, and I've got members who do business in the States and in Europe, but that the folks who work for them here in this region are better trained. And I think that's a testament to the work that Northwest Polytechnic and NATE and the types of institutions that turn out folks who work in our industries do. And they're incredibly reliable and resourceful. And so there's an opportunity to collaborate, because I don't think that's just our industry. Like, I think that's Claire's industry and Jesse's industry too, and talk about the values of these folks, the work they're doing, how innovative people are, and how that makes a series of products that are great for the entire world that are coming out of this region.
Well, thanks for that, Brock. I want to thank this panel. We know that these industries are significantly important to our region and to our city on a daily basis. It's industry associations such as these three that are represented today that really make the information gathering and the advocacy issues that municipalities do on a regular basis much easier. So thank you for the support that you provide the municipalities and the support you provide your members and being with us here today. Thanks so much. Next up, I really am looking forward to this conversation. I'm going to introduce Larry Gibson. Larry, if you weren't aware, represents the Greenview Industrial Gateway, and that is an exciting step forward for our region. As a hub for major industrial projects, it holds tremendous potential to support long-term growth, attract new opportunities, and enhance regional prosperity. We're looking forward to the positive impacts that the Greenview Industrial Gateway will bring, not only to the region, but to our local community, to our businesses and residents alike. So allow me to introduce Larry. I'll leave this here for you.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Mayor Clayton. And for those of you that don't know me, I'm Larry Gibson. I'm the Manager of Economic Development with the MD of Greenview. Kyle Reiling, our Executive Director for Industrial Development, was hoping to be here today, but he is taking care of some business at Council today that maybe you'll hear about shortly. So I'm pleased to provide an update to you today on Wonder Valley, a truly transformative project that is shaping the future of Greenview and beyond. As many of you know, Wonder Valley is a large-scale AI data center industrial park being developed in the Greenview Industrial Gateway in partnership with O'Leary Ventures. Once completed, it will be the largest development of its kind in the world, positioning our region as a leader in technology, innovation, and sustainable energy solutions. This project will unfold in multiple phases, with the first phase alone representing a $12 billion investment to develop 1.4 gigawatts of power infrastructure. Over time, the full build-out is expected to exceed $70 billion, creating thousands of jobs, strengthening our local economy, and attracting global investment. With this region's cold weather climate, highly skilled workforce, access to fiber optic networks, and abundant natural gas reserves, the project is set to be a benchmark for industrial and technological development in North America. Progress continues steadily we are actively working to advance the master water license, which is a critical component to the project's long-term viability. In addition, O'Leary Ventures has begun pre-engagement with many communities in the area, ensuring early and meaningful conversations to foster collaboration and long-term partnerships. To maintain momentum, we're holding weekly meetings with the province's concierge team. These sessions allow us to navigate regulatory processes efficiently, address any potential roadblocks early, and keep all stakeholders aligned on next steps. The level of cooperation and commitment from all involved parties has been exceptional, and we're seeing real progress and real results. Beyond the direct economic impacts, Wonder Valley represents a shift in how we think about energy and industry. By leveraging abundant natural gas reserves, this project will be a model for efficiency and sustainability, demonstrating how economic growth and environmental responsibility can go hand in hand. This aligns with Greenview's long-term vision of balancing industrial development with responsible resource management. Years of planning and strategic investment have brought us to this point, and it is exciting to see that work is paying off. Greenview is no longer just a place of opportunity, it is a destination for global innovation, investment, and long-term prosperity. We look forward to sharing more updates as Wonder Valley continues to take shape. And for updates and to learn more about the project, please visit Greenview Industrial Greenview Industrial website at www.greenviewindustrial.ca. And I thank you, and enjoy the rest of your day, and congratulations to you guys for putting on this event today. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. I know this region is continually waiting for more information, but you're right. This has been a project in many years, and you compare it to other projects such as Alberta's Industrial Heartland, which took 20 plus years to come together. So we're very optimistic about the work that's being done. I want to thank Larry Gibson and Rhonda Side, our incredible panelists. But in closing, I just want to say that Grande Prairie is truly committed to fostering an inclusive and diverse community where newcomers and businesses and service providers collaborate to build a stronger workforce and an even stronger economy. Through our programs that were funded today, the Government of Alberta funded the Inclusive and Caring Initiative. We continue to create opportunities that enhance workforce integration, strengthen employer support, and promote long-term newcomer retention. By working together, we can ensure that Grande Prairie remains a welcoming and thriving place for all. On behalf of City Council, our entire organization, I want to thank you for being part of this journey. I want to thank you for the work that you've done in the past year, sharing your ideas and offering your support and believing in Grande Prairie's potential. Together, we are building a community that is not only grander, but it's grander. Thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your day. Oh, don't leave. We have prizes. I forgot. So, under your seats, there could be stickers. They could be green or they could be blue. If you have a green sticker, you get that lovely arrangement with the greenery, hence the green sticker. If you have a blue sticker, you get the lovely blue box on your table. And you can trade your partner if that makes sense. And enjoy your afternoon. Thanks, everyone.